Hi everyone, Stillhead here. I want to give you a walkthrough of some of my tracks that are forthcoming on the A Real Piece of Work album. Right now I'm kickstarting that album, so if you're interested in helping me make the vinyl possible, stillhead.com, you follow the link there and get all the information you need. However, I'm going to break this track down. This is the first track on the album. It's called Opening Scene. And started this back in 2022, only finished it fairly recently. I'm going to play you a few clips. I'm not going to play the whole thing all the way through, that defeats the purpose, but I'm going to take you through all the elements and just talk a bit about my production methods. So here we go. So, a slow, brooding intro builds up. Got some piano, some other elements coming in there, and then the beat eventually drops here, quite far in, almost at the 2-minute mark. Some subtle things happen in there, then the percussion comes in. Some breaks in there, and then right up towards the end. All the elements coming in, breaks down to some rather large bassy sounds. And then just finishes off towards the end. So there's not really a breakdown in the middle, although if I was to do some sort of extended edit, this would probably, this section here would end up being in the middle somewhere. However, let's talk about some of the elements that we've got. So first of all, nice and simple, there is a sub happening most of the way through. Let's solo that and you can hear that. That's very low. If you've not got a sub, or if you're not listening on headphones, you might not hear that. So straight up, that is a massive sub. Very little done to it beyond the initial programming. Mostly just a sine wave. There's a dimension expander. There's some reverb on there, which is often a bit of a no-no for bass, but you know, whatever. And then once the beat kicks in to go alongside the kick, which I'll solo that as well, I've got the bass notes hitting at the same time as the kick. Just the first three there, that kind of same sort of pattern, just to help the kick with a little bit more oomph. The other bass, we're looking at samples for these ones, the kind of more aggressive sounds. And actually, I think, yeah, although there's no EQ on them, but there's a lot of top end versus the lower end. So what happens is sub happens at the same time as these ones here, and then for these latter ones which have more sub in them, just took the sub off. So some of them are EQ'd already in the sample, but yeah, that's essentially the bass line happening. We've got the pads, which form probably the majority of the track here. So the two of them. So they're the sort of backbone kind of pad sounds, and then in addition to that, we've got this one here. And then, last but not least, a low-passed version. So there's just EQ around 100 and a little bit above with some reverb on that one. In addition to that, we've got some synths happening. Kinda subtle, but in there nonetheless. So if you listen out for this one. So that's additional texture, as well as the piano. There's a sort of piano motive that I played into Felt Grand Piano, which is one of the Olafur Arnold's Contact libraries. So that and the pads felt like a nice combination. So that's actually got a MIDI control to kind of take the heavier clicks off the notes. This is before Ableton 12, so ended up taking randomizing this and making it a little bit more human. We've got the Contact library itself, we've got some reverb, we've got a utility to boost the volume, and then we've got a compressor. And at the same time as that, there is choir sounds happening. The choir is Spitfire Audio Labs. I think that's free. Same chords being played there, and then there's some little additional effects and dubby sounds. There's obviously the reverse and the kind of main sort of larger one. And these have got like filter delay, reverb, and additional delay on them, as well as an EQ to just take all the low end out. And then we've got the effects, an additional effects layer, which is just reverb on this one, and this has got the harp and that sort of thing in there. And some additional dubs further on. And then I'll talk about the drums. Oh, there's a little distance synth. What's that? That's the little... So that's another massive patch with a pitch bend included in the clip, probably, if I look at the envelope. Yeah. Which is kind of to fit in with the main sounds here. Because I could hear some pitch bending in that original sample, and I was like, I want to mimic that and kind of sort of build on it. Of course, there's also some reverse sounds here. That's a reverse piano with reverb. So yeah, then we've got the drums. So there's a few different things happening on the drums. There are, of course, some additional little strings down here. Let's just look at them quickly. A high string line, that'll have been rendered off and then EQ'd, and it's got some reverb, and then the strings will be a Contact library, yeah. So, drums, let's look at them real quick. Kick drum, that's nice and simple. I've got a drum kit that a drum rack that I throw in kick sounds to, and there's a bit of EQ just to take the very bottom off there. That click you heard, I've got a pack of rims that I use for various things, so I've brought some of them in, and the same goes for hi-hats. So all of them working together, the rims, some of them have reverb, some of them have reverb on the whole, like that's on the whole drum rack there, that's just on this particular rim shot. And we've got a sort of intro sample to the break, which has some automation. I've not got the automation on the right one there yet. You can see the automation is going from low to high. And that just opens up the EQ into this section here where the actual drum break itself is playing. So there's EQ to take the kick drum out of that because I've got a kick drum already. Then I've gated the drums so that I'm not getting all the mess in between. And then I've put reverb on that as well. And then a little bit further on, there's also some cymbals in the mix, just to fill in that kind of top end. So altogether, also do before I send it to my mastering engineer, I'll also do a very rough master so I can get an idea. So this is going to be louder, but this is kind of, if I put span after that, you'll see. So there we go. That is the first track, opening scene from my album, A Real Piece of Work, which will be landing later this year, but is currently in the process of finding the funds to press the vinyl. So I've got the album good to go. It's all been mastered. The artwork has now been completed, and all I'm doing now is effectively trying to use Kickstarter as a bit of a pre-order system so that I can fund the production of the vinyl. It'll be 2 LPs in a gatefold package, and yeah, hopefully that works out. And everything goes to plan. If not, it might just be a digital release. I guess we'll find out. You might know already by the time you watch this. But yeah, in any case, stillhead.com if you're looking for all the links and all the information. And I hope this has been interesting to you. And yeah, speak to you shortly.